Education is something I've always been passionate about and always will be passionate about. And I think, especially over this next 2,000 years, we're going to see a huge, huge, huge emphasis on education. We've already seen it. On our planet, public education has become a mainstay in so many countries throughout the world, and more people are educated than ever. And these trends are just increasing. Thank goodness, because something as simple as human beings coming together, sharing ideas, sharing perspectives, is the harmony as well as the conflict laden in that kind of scenario, it moves us along so very beautifully. I've uh, I've I've taken so many classes just to take the classes, subjects I was interested in and for my own benefit instead of some degree or anything. And actually, I have a double major from the University of Nevada, Reno in French and Spanish. Graduated this last spring. I love education. I've always been a proponent of it, and again, I always will. So this is just one in a series of many videos I'll make over my lifetime talking about just my perspective, offering my analysis of certain things that we can do to reform education, to make it more futuristic but also more natural, more geared towards moving forward but also more geared towards human development. And I think that those two goals actually go hand in hand. There have been so many essays on education, whether it was, I always forget his first name, but there was an essay by a man named Huxley, who's known as Darwin's watchdog, Charles Darwin's watchdog. You can look him up. I think it's like T.L. or T.H. Huxley. I don't know. I'm not sure. But he's talking about how essentially, just like Emerson was voicing in his essay on education, how education is simply nature. We learn by being. We naturally learn things. We understand things as cold, as hot, as safe, as dangerous, as we learn everything by nature. It is in the nature of being human, of learning. And so the more we focus, well, first, the more that we accept education as an important part of our society, let alone focusing energies on making education as natural and intuitive as possible, the better. So what does this mean? This means we need to get more in touch with our own nature. We have to understand the nature of being a student, as well as this is the nature of humanity. In my studies in astrology, I've come to understand that people are so very, very different. We all think and understand the world in very different fashions from each other. A kid that's good at math could be horrible at English. A kid that's good at English could be horrible at math. We all know this intuitively. We have our subjects that we love. Oh, what's your favorite subject? That's such a common question, especially in Western societies. What's your least favorite? And so often people very much are passionate about both of those things. I know I have. I've always been, I love languages, I love history, I love social sciences, I hate math. It's a shame that our society, our education system is set up on this whole idea of common core. This goes back to the origins of education in America, and indeed, I find that education in the entire Western civilization goes back to the Prussian education system. Thomas Mann was an American who went over to Prussia to study their public education system, and I believe like the 1820s, it was the early 1800s, and came back with an education system that largely hasn't been changed too much to where we are today. It's very much the same structure, as far as I know, very much the same goals of crafting the student, the ideal pupil. Now, again, while in general it succeeded, this whole idea of common core, of there being the ideal citizen who's adept at math as well as science as well as English, it's not realistic. It's not true to our human nature. It's not true to nature itself. I was a straight A student, I wasn't straight A, but I had a really great GPA. I think weighted it was 4.36, unweighted it was 3.56, something like that. So I wasn't actually, I was a straight A and B student, I meant to say, except for math. All throughout high school and the one math class I took in college, I just struggled to get by because I didn't It wasn't naturally intuitive to me. Now I love degrees when it comes to astrology and astronomy. I love degrees and math in that way. Computational wise, I love math. But as for logs and trigonometry and all this stuff, it wasn't useful to me then. It's not useful to me now. It's not benefited me as much as, say, if I was studying something like Portuguese or Russian. In fact, I'm studying Portuguese right now, and I'm going to study Russian later. If we got rid of this idea of common core, and this goes along with the standardized testing too, no child left behind, the idea that every single person must be educated the exact same way, having the exact same educational opportunities, in the sense of, because I believe that we all need educational opportunities. What I mean to say is, if we all need to take the same classes, instead of taking classes that we're naturally interested in, that the pupil is naturally interested in, when we cookie cut our curriculum, our students, we're naturally going to run up against a lot of frustration on their parts, on our parts, especially with these ideas of standardized testing. Yes, we do need to have some kind of barometer to make sure that our students are communicating well, are having good critical thinking and reasoning skills, but my goodness, it's crippling our education system to have this one-size-fits-all education. My mom's a teacher. She's been a teacher for, I think, 13 years now. My aunt's a teacher. There's many teachers I know, and also actually a couple friends my age are teachers. And they all have expressed great frustration with this, of feeling like they are part of a curriculum that bashes their students down. And it's inevitable. If we have this one-size-fits-all policy, we are going to have students that feel, I felt, and I'm sure you felt if you went through similar education that I did, which is likely considering just how vast this whole Prussian model of education has gone in the West, and indeed throughout the world. It's very frustrating to see very frustrating to me to see so many teachers and students expressing such frustration with the current policy of education. So how do we reform this? How do we make this better? How do we get more in tune with the nature of the pupil, so the pupil can be more in tune with their education and actually want to go to school, instead of feeling like they're being forced to learn something that's not going to be useful to them, hurting their self-esteem because they're not good at it and because they're not naturally geared towards that. Again, just to illustrate, I had mostly A's and B's throughout high school. Actually, I had mostly A's. I was trying to say not straight A's in my delusional fantasy world. I had mostly A's, a couple B's, and then math. I had C's all throughout high school, and then my last semester, I had a D in pre-calc. It was the only D I ever made, actually ever, even in college. And in college, that one semester I took, I scraped by. I got a 70.3 or something. And I was jubilant. I was so jubilant because I was like, I just need to pass this class. This subject matter is horribly a waste of time for me, as well as a waste of self-esteem and effort. So, again, how do we reform this? Simple. Let the pupil choose. Now, guidance is necessary, hence why we have guidance counselors in our educational system, advisors. It's very necessary, but overall, human beings, we get ourselves more than other people are going to get us. Now, guidance counselors can help us, they can steer us in the right direction, but ultimately, we know what we're good at. I've been saying that I've been good at languages and everything else, and I've not been good at math since, I can't even remember when, since elementary school. Since I could basically formulate words and ideas, I was saying this. And everybody, I find, is like that with some subject. I'm an engineer, I hate English. We need choice here. Now, we need basic computation. Everybody needs basic computation. We need basic communicative skills. I do think that we can tailor our English system, for whatever language it is, the communication, the language course. If you're in France, French, China, Chinese, whatever. I think we can gear our language course to suit more left-brain thinkers, the engineers of the world, the more cut-and-dry people, the ones who aren't going to enjoy reading literature as much, or at least most literatures. That's a whole nother topic today. I have specific ideas for that, but I want to enumerate that on its own. So the point of this video, again, is choice, free will. If we get rid of this whole idea of common core, this whole idea of we all need to be on the exact same path education-wise. We all need to take the exact same classes. If I could rewrite my educational history, I would like to say, first of all, I am extremely grateful and happy and content with my education. Overall, I love the educational system that I have been through. And I'm in Nevada. I think it's like number 49 and yes, out of 50 states as per education. So I've been on an interesting perspective of it all. But honestly, I've been incredibly enriched by my education. I had wonderful teachers, both in Las Vegas, where I was born and raised, and went K through 12 through, as well as college in Reno. And I could not be more content with my education. But if I could rewrite my educational history, I would pick out basically all my math classes from 8th grade on. 8th grade is when it began. I'm just, oh, this sucks. And then this isn't useful. I would have taken out probably 6 of those classes, multiple science classes, chemistry, biology, and whatnot. And I would replace it with languages. And if that would have happened, I would be more content. I would be more advanced on the path that I'm naturally treading in my life. We need to let our students choose more in their classes, or else we're going to keep having frustrated students. We're going to keep having frustrated teachers who are jamming curriculum down the throats of these students, very much against their own will, I'm finding. I really haven't found a teacher yet, and I've been around quite a few teachers who feel that this system works at all, let alone is working well. So it's very simple. That's really my first idea, and I feel like probably the best idea I could offer in this lifetime for our educational system. Overall, it's a great educational system. We've been really developing it the last couple... Public schooling has not been out for very long, and indeed, even from the days of Thomas Mann, when public schooling was being put into place into legislature, it still was... It's grown leaps and bounds from where it was very much a... the university system is just incredible, and it's such a beautiful Aquarian institution, and it's only going to continue, of course. And indeed, it'll be very interesting to see what new ranks of academic and intellectual achievement come about, because I do feel that as varied as our baccalaureate, master's, and PhD system is, I think there's going to be so much more emphasis on the academic world and work in the future. So there'll be like PhDs and what, I don't know, it'll be interesting. But in any case, K through 12 and at the university level, more of the bachelor's, we do, I feel, very much need to let go of this erroneous notion that all of our students, all of our people, need to be the exact same, and we need to know the same things because we all have the same skills, because that's simply not true. Again, it is on our very nature of being human to be very different from each other and have varied sets of skills. And we need to embrace that. We need to embrace our nature. And I feel that, again, the best way to do that is to offer more choice. We do need to have some structured curriculum, but I think we need to offer, and especially in this day of internet, of being able to access information from any part of the globe practically, I think that we also could very much benefit by offering classes online. And I know we do that right now, but if we offered more classes online, I think that would be not more than in person. I think that's a very important part of our social networking, is people meeting in person, whether it's high school, college, K through 12, whatever. I just... so much wasted energy and effort, and so much beaten self-confidence of kids that are very sensitive and vulnerable already. That all could be done away with if we just offered more choice. Guide the kids, but let them choose for themselves what they're going to be educated in. Trust in their interest for themselves. Trust in their interests. They're going to know what they're interested in naturally. You may need to talk with them to try and figure it out consciously, so they can go, oh yeah, I guess, yeah, I am good at that. Oh yeah, I do like that. Okay, yeah, I'll take a lot of those classes. We would see revolutionary leaps and bounds, evolutionary leaps and bounds, if we did this. I know, me personally, if I could, cherry pick, if I could have taken out those classes and added languages and social studies and history, and I would be so much more knowledgeable than I am today. I've gotten really good in my entire generation, and those preceding and those going through right now. We've gotten very good at BSing classes.